Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kol Kol Shira in partnership with Bezov.org. And we can discuss the Parsha Shelach. Well, this is a very, very action-packed Parsha. There are so many lessons to learn out of this Parsha. Amazing lessons to learn out of it. Learn how we can take encouragement using our will to align our will with the will of Hashem. What happened? Let's discuss this. The Parsha begins that there are 12 different spies. These were the Nesiim. These were great people. And they went to spy the land of Israel. They went out for 40 days. The Torah tells us. When they left, they had a command from Moshe Rabbeinu to come back and give them a report. Tell us about the land. Is the land a good land? Is the land that has produce? Is it the land that has, is it a strong people, strong city, fortified cities? Okay. They enter the land. The first thing they see there are funerals going on. They see these giant people, and they're burying their dead. So they wound up saying, this is an Eretz Eicheles Yoshver. This is a land that consumes its inhabitants. But really, Rabbi Nachman teaches in lesson 187, Kaf Pei Zayin, that Eretz Eicheles Yoshver is the Roshei Tevas Ata Tishalim Leish Kemaseyu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays back a person according to his actions. Now, let's understand this. We studied in the Kutei Halachos, in Hilchos Birchas Hareyach, this idea of how the spies came up and they came up with their ill report. What were they lacking? Today we were learning in Likutei Halachos this idea of the Torah is pardes. Okay, this is in Hilchos Birchas Haidah. The Torah is pardes. What is pardes? Pshat, remez, drush, insight. A person has to be engaged in all aspects, in the four chalakim of Torah, in order to have a completion, to be complete in his Torah. A person's actions have to align with his Torah learning. A person cannot have more learning than his actions. If the person has more learning than his actions, his learning is not considered a learning, because it's not that the medrash is the ikar, it's the ma'aseh that's the ikar, Pirkei Avos tells us. Okay. Two spies of the 12, Yoshua ben Nun, he became Yehoshua. His name was Hoshea ben Nun, but he became Yehoshua. Moshe Rabbeinu gave him the name in order to fortify him against the atzas of the Meraglim, against the ill advice of the Meraglim. Yehoshua was the Nasi of Shevet Ephraim. Torah tells us that. The second spy that we're going to discuss is Kalev ben Yefuneh. Kalev ben Yefuneh was an amazing Nasi. He was the Nasi of Shevet Yehuda. What did Kalev ben Yefuneh, what happened with him? Amazing. Listen to this. Kalev ben Yefuneh, he had such a desire, such a rotzen to be Yerush Eretz Yisrael, to conquer Eretz Yisrael. When he came into Eretz Yisrael with the spies, he broke away from them. And where did he go? He went to Hebron. He went to the Maras HaMachpelah that Avraham Avinu bought from Ephron Achiti for 400 silver coins. He remembered the story. And he remembered HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised Eretz Yisrael to Avraham Avinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised Eretz Yisrael to Yitzchak Avinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised Eretz Yisrael to Yaakov Avinu. And because HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised, he said, let me go to this place and let me have the schus to be by Kivrei Tzadikim. Tzadikim Yesodei Olam. And maybe in their schus and the tefillah that I put in by the tzadikim, with those that were promised the land, maybe I'll be saved. And he went and he davened. And he came back to the 12, to the other spies, but he didn't say anything to them. He played along with them. Why? He figured, if I say something to them now, these are very powerful people. And they don't agree with me. And because they don't agree with me, they may kill me. And then what? Nothing will be accomplished. So he says, you know what? I'm going to hold back. I'm not going to tell them anything until we came back. And when he came back, and the spies had these big fruits. The Medrash says the grapes were so big, a cluster of grapes needed 2 men to carry it. Could you imagine that? A cluster of grapes needed 2 men to carry a cluster. We're not talking about a big bushel of grapes. We're talking about a cluster of grapes. You buy them in the supermarket. What's the big deal? 2 men. That's how big the grapes were. They were huge. Because the people, and they said, hey, we seemed like grasshoppers in their eyes. They were so big. They were so giants. And look, the fruits are so big because they need the big fruits because they're so big. The cities are so fortified, there's no way we can do anything with them. No, we can't. But then what happened? Kolei ben Yefuna. Listen to this. Listen to his words. Vayahas Kolev es ha'am. And Kolev hushed. He quieted down the people. There was such a hustle and bustle going on with this news that they found out from the spies. Kolev hushed them down. El Moshe, to Moshe. Vayoyma alo na'aleh v'yarashnu oisai ki yochol nuchala. We shall surely ascend, and we will surely conquer, for we can surely do it. Such words of encouragement. Rashi says, Rashi's amazing. Always, you can't understand anything without learning Rashi. Rashi says, Vayaz Kolev. Hishtik es kulam. He silenced them all. He silenced them all. He silenced the spies and the people that were worried about it. He calmed everyone down. There was a big hustle and bustle. And then it says, El Moshe. L'shmaya ma'ashi yadaber b'Moshe. They wanted to hear, what is he going to say about Moshe? To listen, what's he going to say against Moshe Rabbeinu? V'chi zu bilvad asa lanu ben Amram? Is this alone that the son of Amram has to do for us? Hashemeya haya sover. One who heard this was under the impression Shabbat l'sape b'gnusay. Kolev is in with the theme here. we're disparaging. We disparage Eretz Yisrael. We are saying that we can't come into Eretz Yisrael. This land is a land that consumes its inhabitants, even though Rabbi Nachman said that Eretz Eicheles Yeshvez Ata Tishalem Ish Leish Kemaseu. They didn't know that. But now, Kolev, he's going to speak bad about Moshe Rabbeinu. Disparage the land. Now let's disparage Moshe Rabbeinu. Because they had something against Moshe Rabbeinu. Bishvil divrei hameraglim, because of what the meraglim said. Hey, Moshe Rabbeinu, you took us out of Mitzrayim. You took us to here. Now you want to take us to this land. Shotku kulam, he silenced, and then the Shmaya beginusay. Now, but what did Kolev say? Omar. Then Kolev said, "V'aloi kara lanu es hayam." Did Moshe Rabbeinu split the sea? What happened? We left Egypt. It was the 6th day. We left Egypt. The Mitzrayim were chasing after us. Shri Shapesa. We were chasing after us. We had the raging sea in front of us. We had the Egyptians chasing after us with their chariots, with their sword, with their spears. They wanted revenge. On the side we had wild animals, we couldn't go there. And on the other side we had a cliff. We couldn't go over the cliff. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? Split the sea. Kolev says, didn't Moshe Rabbeinu get us out of that? Egypt was the most important army in the world at the time. They were the world power at the time. They were the world power. They were like the America of today, they claim. And what happened? He split the sea, and the whole army was drowned. Amazing. Kolev says, don't you remember that? You guys were there. You were there. You walked through the Yam Suf. Hey, what were we eating now for the past 2 years? Moshe Rabbeinu, and the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu, the man came down. Amazing. Amazing. It's mamish truly amazing when you see what's going on. It's the Gemara in Site that really discusses all of this. It's the Gemara, if you want to see more about this, it's on 35a, Lamed Hey Amid Aleph. Okay. Aman. The Hagiz Lanu es Haslav, and he made he made the pheasant fly for us. We had the last week. So Moshe Rabbeinu can do anything with Hashem. It's not Moshe Rabbeinu. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So really, what do we see from here? They were lacking their desire. Yoshua said, look how courageous. We shall and surely ascend and conquer. He had Ratzon. That's what we lack. Ratzon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants our Ratzon, our will, our kisufim, our hishtoikikus. He wants us to pine long for him, for his Torah. This is what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from us. That is our Bechira. People think that the Bechira is what they do. No. Bechira is what you want. Your Ratzon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows a person's Ratzon. He knows what the Ratzon is of a person. He knows that there is of a person. He knows the Ratzon. And that's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what the spies were lacking. They didn't have the will. They didn't have the desire. They wanted to take the easy way out. We're in the desert. We have man. We have the well. We have the rolling stone. We have water. We have protection. We have the Ananiya covered. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us. We have central air conditioning, central heating provided from Hashem. We don't get a bill from Chevet Chashmal. You don't get a bill from Kanedis. You don't get a bill. You don't get bills. But don't we know that all of our parnasa comes from the Rabbeinu Shalom? So we're looking back at this, and we can see now how speaking ill about the world, about Eretz Yisrael, is pretty much the worst thing that can happen. The Medrash says, what happened to these spies? They died. Their tongues became so long. Terrible. And then some said that they had Oscar, they wound up having some kind of other thing. They died instantly. Speaking ill about Eretz Yisrael is speaking ill about the Rabbeinu Shalom. What we can do is, we can see the miracles that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us here in Eretz Yisrael every day. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us from our enemies every day. It's unbelievable. Only if you live in Eretz Yisrael can you appreciate it. Because if you live anywhere else in the world and you hear about Eretz Yisrael, they tell you how terrible Eretz Yisrael is. They're disparate, they're the spies. They're the spies. But we live in Eretz Yisrael. We live surrounded by our enemies. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects us. Tamid einei Hashem elekecha ba, mereishis hashana, arach v'shana. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always watching Eretz Yisrael. Always watching Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara says, Mi shadar Eretz Yisrael is kimichahu eloika. He has a God. If you live in Chutzlar, you don't, it's like you have no God. That's what the Gemara says. It's amazing. We see the beauty of Eretz Yisrael, the fruits of Eretz Yisrael. We're in a desert, but we see the miracles of Eretz Yisrael. What we need today is to strengthen our Ratzon. Strengthen our emunah in Hashem. Strengthen our Ratzon. And that's the message of this Parsha. The message of this Parsha is to strengthen our Ratzon. Strengthen our will to Hashem. Recognize that if we trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Mekoymai Shalaylam Ve'ena Oylam Makom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the entire world. Everything is Hashem. If you trust in Hashem, you have all the salvation. If you trust in yourself, you trust in the government, you trust in an army, you trust in an ally, useless. You see what goes on. If we return and trust in the Rabbeinu Shalom, we'll see the biggest Yeshuas, and that's what we learn from the Parsha. This is what we learned from the Parsha. Ratzon. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us Rabbi Nachman, and Rabbi Nachman taught us this beautiful lesson. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mishaling mish k'maseyu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is paying back a person according to his actions. If we're people that were involved in Torah and Paradis, the 4 halakim of Torah, and we are people that are aligning our Torah learning with chesed. It's not just we're learning Torah, but we're doing chasadim, and we're learning because we learn Torah, so we know how to follow the Torah. We're one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is the message of the Parsha. We take away from this that all we need to do is constantly align our will to the Torah. If you align your will to the Torah, you're being mitzaref the oisius of Torah l'toiv. Instead of taking the letters of the Torah and turning them into something negative. We always want to focus on positive. Thank you for listening to our lesson. Again, strengthen your Ratzon. I wish everyone a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Shabbos. We should all recognize that yesterday was the anniversary of the beginning of the 12-day war with Iran last year, the first anniversary. And let us thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how our Air Force was able to do hundreds of missions from Eretz Yisrael to Tehran I believe it's about 1,200 kilometers. It's far. To Tehran. These are small planes. These are warplanes. They're not meant to go on long journeys. They're not meant to go on long journeys. All the planes were refueled midair. In midair, they were refueled. Hundreds of back and forth, constantly being refueled. Everything worked meticulously. Meticulously. Every plane was refueled perfectly. Every plane was able to take care of its missions, drop its munitions, and hit its targets, as we saw. Every plane came back. Every soldier came back safe and well. Baruch Hashem. And to just prove the chesed of Hashem, take a look at America. They claim they have the most powerful army in the world. I say nonsense. Why? America has their major warships, aircraft carriers, huge. They're like cities, these ships. Their planes are as good, if not better, than the planes that we have here in Eretz Yisrael. They ran maybe 100 missions. They lost 2 planes. They lost 2 planes. We did hundreds of missions back and forth, 1,200 kilometers back and forth. They did maybe 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers from their aircraft carrier to Tehran. It's right there. And they lost 2 planes. You see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us. All we need to do is strengthen our Ratzon. Have a good Shabbos and let us hear all B'Sayros Tovos. Thank you for listening. Kol Tuv.